Ask about cheap houses in Japan and certain names come up immediately. Kagoshima for volume, Fukuoka for convenience, maybe Kyoto for romance. Nagasaki rarely makes the list, and that omission is the entire argument of this video. Not because Nagasaki has some secret rock-bottom price nobody else has found. It genuinely does not have the country's highest vacancy rate, and this channel will not pretend otherwise. Nagasaki is underrated for a different reason entirely. For the same modest Akiya price as almost anywhere else in rural Japan, it offers a depth of history, healthcare, and island life that most cheap house prefectures simply cannot match. Start with the honest numbers. Nagasaki's population has been shrinking by more than 1% a year, placing it among the small group of Japanese prefectures declining fastest nationally, a genuine, well-documented demographic trend, not an exaggeration. That decline is producing real Akiya inventory across the prefecture's towns. But credit where it is due to the data. Nagasaki does not top the national vacancy rate rankings the way Wakayama, Tsushima, Kagoshima, Kochi, and Ehime do. Nationally, the category of truly abandoned homes, the ones with no plan to ever rent or sell, has grown roughly 1.8 times over the past 2 decades, and Nagasaki's own share of that trend keeps climbing town by town, even without topping the leaderboard. If the only thing that mattered here were squeezing out the single lowest price in Japan, Nagasaki would not be the first stop. What makes it worth a serious look is everything else on offer for essentially the same money. Here is the substance most cheap house guides skip entirely. For roughly 2 centuries, while the rest of Japan was closed to the outside world, Nagasaki was the single exception, the one port where Dutch and Chinese traders were permitted to operate. That history did not fade into a museum exhibit. It shaped the city itself. Streetscapes like Glover Garden and the old Dutch trading post at Dejima sit alongside a genuinely fused local cuisine, champan and sarudon, dishes that blend Japanese, Chinese, and Western technique in ways found nowhere else in the country. The practical result, repeatedly described by residents and migration guides alike, is a prefecture that tends to welcome foreigners with less friction than most of rural Japan, a place with 200 years of practice absorbing outsiders rather than a recent, untested effort at it. Compare that to a rural town that has never had a significant foreign resident before, and the difference in day-to-day ease, from how a new face is treated at the local supermarket to how naturally a mixed household fits in, is not subtle. History here is not decoration. It shows up in how the place actually functions. 2 more advantages matter more than most buyers realize before they need them. Nagasaki ranks 3rd nationally for hospitals per 100,000 residents, a genuinely strong result for medical access, which matters enormously for retirees or anyone planning a long-term move rather than a short stay. And Nagasaki's geography offers something few other cheap house prefectures can: real island living within the same jurisdiction, on Goto, Tsushima, or Akiya, for buyers who want rural Japan's affordability taken one step further into genuine seclusion, without leaving the prefecture's healthcare and support systems behind. Individual towns add their own layer on top. Unzen and Sasebo run their own housing and child-rearing support programs, on top of whatever prefectural or national assistance already applies. None of this requires choosing between affordability and substance. The Akiya prices across Nagasaki's smaller towns sit in the same range as the rest of rural Kyushu, which means a buyer is not paying a premium for any of it. The healthcare ranking, the island options, and the local incentives all arrive bundled with a price tag that looks like everywhere else on this channel, not a markup for the extra depth. So is Nagasaki Japan's most underrated place to buy a cheap house? Underrated is exactly the right word, and undiscovered is the wrong one. Plenty of buyers already know Nagasaki exists. Very few are weighing it seriously against Kagoshima or Fukuoka, mostly because it does not offer the single most extreme statistic to put in a headline. What it offers instead is harder to capture in one number and more valuable in daily life. 2 centuries of genuine cultural depth, healthcare that ranks among the best in the country, and an island life option built into the same prefecture as strong hospital access. For the same Akiya price you would pay almost anywhere else in rural Kyushu or beyond, that combination is difficult to find twice. Nagasaki was never hiding a lower price. It was hiding a better answer to a question most buyers do not think to ask until after they have already chosen somewhere else. If this made Japan's empty house market a little clearer, subscribe to Akiya Handbook, the channel that explains how Japan's cheap houses actually work, honestly, and without selling you anything. There is also a free guide waiting in the description, the Akiya Buyer's Starter Guide, how to buy a cheap house in Japan without getting burned. 11 chapters on the truth about so-called free houses, the hidden costs, and who should not buy. No hype, and completely free. The link is below. Thanks for watching.